If you were an opposing coach game planning to stop Caitlin Clark, what would you do?
Pray.
Up in time, Clark for the win! Yeah!
Clark races away, and the mythical mastery of Caitlin Clark continues!
How do you explain her?
Kobe Bryant with a ponytail. Like apex predator who wants to steal your soul.
A deep one. You bet! Caitlin Clark!
She's not just a name in basketball. She's rewriting women's basketball history with every game. A fierce competitor, a record-shattering phenom. But who is Caitlin Clark beyond the highlights? How did she rise to become the unstoppable force everyone's talking about?
She is the greatest scorer college basketball has ever seen.
Born in West Des Moines, Iowa, Caitlin grew up in a household deeply rooted in sports. Her father was a football coach, her older brother Blake played college football at Iowa State, and her younger brother Colin, often called the other basketball player. With a family so ingrained in athletics, it seemed only natural that Caitlin would follow a similar path. Raised in a family where competition was a way of life, Caitlin's fierce drive and competitive spirit became obvious early on. Yet, basketball wasn't the only game she loved. With an athletic family background, Caitlin tried her hand at various sports, including soccer and softball. But basketball quickly stood out. Her grandfather fondly remembers her dribbling a basketball by age 5, displaying an uncanny court awareness that set her apart from her peers. Caitlin's siblings played a huge role in shaping her competitive edge. She calls her brothers both her biggest supporters and biggest haters with a laugh, explaining that they kept her humble. Her older brother, in particular, was always bigger, stronger, faster, and constantly pushed her to improve. She once said, "Whenever I wanted to play with him and his friends, I never won anything, and my mom always said, if you want to play with them, you've got to find a way to hold your own." By the age of 9, basketball became more than just a hobby. It became her dream. In an interview, Caitlin shared a dream board she made in elementary school. Her goals? To earn a basketball scholarship and play in the WNBA. With her father as her first coach, Caitlin's talent was quickly recognized. He enrolled her on boys' teams to ensure she was continually challenged. She played on boys' basketball and soccer teams until about 6th grade, long after most teams had separated by gender. She even won MVP one year. "It was crucial to my development," she reflected. "I didn't feel out of place. I was just another player on the court." From these formative years, Caitlin transitioned into high school, where her talent would soon shine on a much larger stage. During her time at Dowling Catholic High School, Caitlin's talent on the basketball court was impossible to ignore. Whenever she played, she dominated, turning heads with her fierce competitive spirit and jaw-dropping skills. Her high school career wasn't just impressive. It was a glimpse into the greatness that would soon take the national stage, setting a new standard for excellence. Her electrifying performances gained national recognition, earning her prestigious titles such as McDonald's All-American and Iowa Miss Basketball in 2020. But her achievements didn't stop there. She was named Gatorade State Player of the Year and received All-American honors, cementing her place as one of the most exciting rising stars in the sport. With each game, Caitlin proved she was destined for greatness, leaving a legacy that would follow her well beyond high school. Her journey was more than just impressive. It was the start of something extraordinary. At the end of her high school journey, Caitlin had left an indelible mark, but now she faced a critical decision that could change her destiny in an instant. As one of the nation's top basketball recruits, Caitlin had her pick of prestigious colleges. Many powerhouse programs, including Notre Dame, UConn, and Oregon, were eager to land her, fully aware that her talent could transform their teams. The offers were tempting, and any young player would have been enticed by the legacy and fame of these renowned schools. But for Caitlin, the decision wasn't just about basketball prestige. It was about something far more personal. While big-name schools called, her heart stayed close to home. Growing up in Iowa, Caitlin had always dreamed of representing her home state. The Iowa Hawkeyes weren't just another option on her list. They were the team she had watched, admired, and imagined herself playing for since she first picked up a basketball. Choosing Iowa wasn't only a basketball decision. It was a choice rooted in loyalty, pride, and the desire to elevate her hometown team on the national stage. Yet, with that decision came enormous pressure. Caitlin wasn't just any recruit for Iowa. She was the one everyone had been waiting for. Before she even set foot on the court, expectations were sky high. Fans and analysts saw her as the future, the player who could bring championships and glory back to the Hawkeyes. The weight of being a local hero, combined with the national spotlight, meant that Caitlin would need to prove herself from day one, not just as a player, but as the face of a new era in Iowa basketball. From the moment Caitlin laced up her shoes for her first game as a freshman, she made one thing clear. She wasn't just here to play. She was here to take over. In that debut, she didn't just meet the towering expectations surrounding her. She obliterated them. Her scoring was unstoppable. But what made her truly remarkable was the way she controlled every aspect of the game. Caitlin wasn't just putting points on the board. She was the mastermind behind every play, leading her teammates with a fearless confidence and unshakable poise well beyond her years. Her career quickly became a highlight reel of unforgettable moments. Whether she was sinking impossibly deep threes with ice in her veins, threading laser-sharp passes through defenders, or taking over when her team needed her most, Caitlin had a knack for delivering when the pressure was at its peak. In every clutch moment, she made it clear this was her stage. Fans watched in awe as she turned games around single-handedly, with performances that left jaws on the floor and sent shockwaves across the college basketball world. But it wasn't just her individual brilliance that stood out. It was how she elevated the entire Iowa program. Under her leadership, the Hawkeyes didn't just rise to the occasion. They became a force to be reckoned with. Caitlin transformed Iowa into a national powerhouse, a team that could go toe-to-toe with the best of the best. Her relentless drive and electrifying play made Iowa must-watch basketball, putting them firmly in the national spotlight. It wasn't just about what Caitlin could do. It was about how she made everyone around her better, turning the Hawkeyes into a program with championship aspirations. Her domination at Iowa was apparent, but what Caitlin accomplished next made her name into the history of the sport. She wasn't just playing the game anymore. She was reshaping the entire landscape of women's basketball. Caitlin has become a sensation, rewriting NCAA history and captivating the nation with every shot. The Iowa seniors' rise to stardom has ignited a new era in women's basketball, as her dazzling performances light up arenas and TV screens alike. Caitlin's extraordinary talent on the court, a mix of Steph Curry's range and Pete Maravich's flair. In a thrilling 2023 game against Michigan, Caitlin became the all-time leading scorer, surpassing 3,527 points. Her influence extends far beyond the stats. Caitlin's games have set viewership records, outpacing even NBA matchups, as millions tune in to witness her magic. The 2023 National Championship, featuring Caitlin's Iowa team, drew nearly 10 million viewers, more than double the previous year's final. Networks have scrambled to showcase her, even creating a special Caitlin Cam to give fans an up-close experience. Off the court, Caitlin's impact is just as powerful. She's a role model for young girls who travel hours just to watch her play, and she never fails to make time for autographs. In her words, "I was that same kid a few years ago." Caitlin isn't just breaking records, she's inspiring the future. As Caitlin stands on the brink of new challenges, her story is far from over. With so much already accomplished, the future looks bright for Caitlin. The question isn't whether she'll succeed, it's how far she'll go. Caitlin is stepping into the next phase of her career after a heartbreaking loss in the NCAA Women's Final for the second straight year. Caitlin and the Iowa Hawkeyes fell to the South Carolina Gamecocks, 87-75, marking the end of Caitlin's remarkable college run. At just 22, Caitlin shattered records that stood for over 50 years, including becoming the NCAA women's basketball all-time scoring leader. Now, she's gearing up for an exciting future. Caitlin has announced she'll enter the 2024 WNBA draft, where she's projected to be the #1 pick. "I'm ready for a new challenge," she said in March. The Indiana Fever hold the first pick, and the draft will take place on April 15th in Brooklyn. But before the WNBA, Caitlin could make a stop at the 2024 Paris Olympics. She's been invited to the USA basketball training camp, with the chance to compete on either the 5-on-5 or 3x3 team. With high expectations surrounding her WNBA debut, fans and coaches alike believe Caitlin will elevate the league, just as she did in college. Her record-breaking games have already drawn millions of viewers, cementing her as a transformative figure in women's sports. Caitlin's story is still being written, and we can't wait to see what comes next. If you're as excited about her journey as we are, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more stories like this.